Good morning, everybody out there in Facebook land. My name is Paul Sterling. I am the author of Argue Less, Love More. I am a relationship and intimacy coach, and today is going to be different. We are diving deep. This is not a normal Facebook Live. This is going to be 25 years of coaching couples from all around the world. I am going to give you the best of the best of what I have learned. And I am joined with Candace here, and Candace is going to make sure that I am being clear and understandable. So grab a piece of paper, a pen. We're going to dive in deep, and I am going to be explaining basically the roadmap to relationships. And the great thing about a map, and I'll say more about this in a minute, but a map doesn't tell you where to go. It gives you the possibilities. So a good map, you can find, many different routes to where you want to go. So I'm not going to tell you what a great relationship is, but I am going to tell you the pieces and parts that need to fit together to make a relationship remarkable. And the last thing I'll say about me before I introduce Candace or have Candace introduce herself is that I once heard that almost every great master started out as a disaster. So I went through 1 divorce, 4 broken engagements. I thought basically at some point there was something wrong with me, that I was not good relationship material. And I thought that having a great relationship was more about luck than skill. And luckily, I have figured out some skills that tend to help make relationships remarkable. So if you really want to make your relationship remarkable, you're going to want to hang on all the way through this presentation. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you 2 things. 1, how you can get a copy of this book, and number 2, if you want help in making your relationship remarkable, I'm going to tell you about what I do, and Heidi Love and I teach a course called the Couples Course, and we also do one-on-one coaching, and there's Love Coach Academy. So this event today is part of the Compassionate Talk events, and it happens every morning at 9 a.m. West Coast time, every evening at 6 o'clock. It's sponsored by Scott Katamas, Love Coach Academy. And Scott is the guy it was his brainchild when this whole COVID thing happened. What can we do to support couples and people, just anybody who's dealing with tough issues, how to have more compassion, communication, connection during these challenging, changing times. So with that in mind, I'm going to dive in, and to help me along the way, I have my dear friend who I only have met online, Candace, and Candace and I have done a bunch of these together. So Candace, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Wow, I'm really happy to be here. I'm Candace. I am in New Hampshire right now, but I traveled around teaching and coaching, creating events, and working with private clients with Tantra and love coaching, and all like you said, the map just is an opportunity for possibilities. And my business is Temple of Frolic, and that's what it kind of means to me, frolic. Like it's so open. And so I love celebrating that with myself and for others. And the piece you just said about feeling broken, and I'm really happy you brought that up, in my history or herstory, between going blind and having as Scott Katanas would say, a very abnormal childhood full of lots of violence and drugs and abuse of every nature. And feeling broken, incapable of having these sustainable, delicious relationships that we talk about and I could teach and coach about, but here I am. Here I am showing up. I'm a student, and I'm so happy to be here and learn with you. And this is like just to say to the crowd out there, like, this is valuable time and information. This is like free classes. These people like you and all these coaches, to meet with them privately or attend one of their classes, it'll cost you. And I'm just so grateful for all these opportunities to have all of you right here in my home. And I'm happy to have others join us. So thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, Candace. And I will be, because Candace is blind, I will be describing, I have a lot of visual aids here, and I will be describing them in detail. And Candace's job, part of it is, if I'm not being clear, is to make sure that it's clear. So, and by the way, if you've got comments or questions, you can type them in. I will try to answer as many questions as I can, and I've got a lot to cover. So the first thing that I'm going to add to the stream here is, like, I have an idea of what most people want. They want to keep love alive. They want to make love last. So keeping it alive, making it last, that's what today is about. And to make it delicious and fun and juicy and amazing. So I have a visual up there, Candace, that basically is a bell curve. And at the top is love keeps getting better and better, and there's a bright future. And then on the other side is love gets worse and worse, and there's a dark future. And so what is the magic, actually? Whoops. Magic of technology here. Okay, there we go, back on stream. What does it take to keep love alive? And I'm going to give a very simple formula. If you want to keep love alive, there's 3 things to do. Make it easy to win, hard to lose, and stay in a state of gratitude. And part of the reason I love doing calls with Candace is this woman has been through hell in many different ways, shapes, and forms. And you can tell from her personality that she is somehow found a way to stay in gratitude or come back to it, even if there has been miserable times. So this is what we want in a relationship. How do you stay grateful for your partner? Like this morning, I have my cup of coffee. My cup of coffee, Leah made that for me, and she makes coffee for me almost every day. But see, I don't take it for granted. Every cup of coffee is like a special, it's our ritual. So if you want to keep love alive, it's about staying grateful. And in a minute, I'm going to ask you, Candace, once I show the next part, what is it that you do that allows you to do that? Because it's a different way of using your brain. So what keeps us excited and keeps love alive is gratitude. What turns it to crap is when we take each other for granted. It becomes easy to lose, and it becomes hard to win in a relationship. So Candace, what do you get from that? How do you apply that in your life, if that makes sense? I mean, I want to make sure it makes sense to you.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is daily practices, rituals, and routine, conscious consideration. And, I'm in a relationship right now, and the other thing that's coming up, when you think about when you're celebrating your partner or your family's birthday, that energy that comes through and all the ways you want to show up on someone's birthday. It was their birthday yesterday, and my birthday is next month, so it's really in my field. Applying that same level of celebrating their life every day. And so one of the things I did is I wrote a bunch of sticky notes affirming my love for them and affirming their value, just in statements for them on blue paper because they love blue, and then put them all around the house. And then when I woke them up and made their coffee as well, I took them, first it was a surprise, and then I took them on a little tour of the love sticky notes everywhere. So, celebrating, really celebrating your partner. That's what I'm hearing here. whomever, whomever we're talking about, the people that are giving their time and energy to you, and you're choosing to do this.
And celebrating life and being appreciative. And by the way, Carla, I see you out there. Good morning to you. Thank you for reaching out. All right. Yes, that's actually exactly it. Like birthday attitude is sort of the gratitude, and even when things are challenging. So part of what's going to happen is I've got this picture of somebody standing on a cliff on one side of the canyon, and it goes where you are now and then where you want to be all the way on the other side of the canyon, and it's the gap. And so today is partly about how do you cover the gap? How do you get from where you are, and things can seem hopeless and you can feel helpless and it can be miserable. I mean, I have clients all around the world and they show up and there has been affairs or betrayals or 100 little things that have gone wrong in the relationship and they are ready to quit. And this is like their last chance. And so we're going to give you some tools that can help you cross that gap. And technology is, let's see, here we go. And I've got a picture here of the New York subway. And why I've got the subway is if you think about it, when Leah, my partner, and I went to the city last spring, I'm a country boy. And in the city, on the subway, there are, you can't see it, but it says there's like 840 miles of track, 472 stations, and 27 subway lines. So what do you need? What did I need so I didn't get lost? I needed a friggin' map. So I said it originally in the start. Today is about that map. I'm going to skip this one. This one. Well, I'll say a tiny bit about it, and Candace, I'll ask you about yours. But I have a slide up that says moments and mentors, and I guess that's really important to kind of look at. What are the moments? What are the mentors? What changed the course of your life? And there's 3 pictures up. One is it was originally. Let me back up and see if I can do this. Yes. The first one is my mom and dad in a boathouse in Maine, and they loved each other. And part of the reason I do what I do is because even though my parents adored each other and loved each other, they didn't have the tools to get along. And after 18 years, they went through a painful breakup because they still loved each other. But man, especially my dad did not have the communication tools that he needed. And so that is me, by the way. That is me and my brother. And that's the other person that was kind of a challenge for me. My brother, after we got along as little kids, but boy, when we hit the teen years, he would beat me up on a regular basis. It was a kind of violent upbringing. And it made an impression on me. And I had to do a lot of work on myself. So at some point, like that's my boat in Alaska. I headed to Alaska to get away from it all. I went and became a commercial fisherman in Alaska. And at age 21, I left home at 17. Age 21, we bought this boat in Florida, brought it through the Panama Canal. Me and my business partner, Thorin Tasker, that was the beginning of the journey. That's a picture of me as a rough and tumble commercial fisherman. By the way, Candace, since you couldn't see that, I'll describe. Handsome, smart, good-looking guy, but gruff, very gruff. And then this is a picture of me a few years later with a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And what happened with Robert is it woke up my mind to the idea that we could change our destiny, that it wasn't just rolling out in front of us, but we could change our habits, patterns, and beliefs and change the direction of our life. And this is me with Tony Robbins, and I can look at my life before Tony and after Tony. And that's what we want for people. We want to be able to have people look at before and after that we are a transformational experience. And I think I'm speaking for Candace and for me that's really critical. That wakes us up early, keeps us up late. I studied a little while with Richard Bandler. Richard Bandler was one of Tony Robbins' early instructors. I call him the Hell's Angel of modern psychology. And I became a certified master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming. This is one other, well, there's like maybe two more pictures. This is Marshall Rosenberg. And Marshall was the creator of nonviolent communication. And he was another one of these people that in my life, I can think of before my life, before Marshall and after Marshall. And if you get a chance, study his stuff. Marshall's no longer alive, but his legacy lives on. And that's what I want. I want to leave a legacy of love. I still want to be alive, but I want to leave a legacy of love. And luckily I got to train with Marshall and then Byron Katie. All right. And that's, I think the last picture, that was me and my dad before my dad passed away. Cantankerous till the end, Irish, alcoholic, recovering Catholic. And he gave me a lot of things and was hard to live with. So Candace, I want to hear a little bit about your journey. Oh, and I want to say one more thing. Sorry, before you bounce there, let me just say one last thing. I ended up, and how come the slides are the way they are, and how come everything's laid out the way they are, is I spent the first part of my years commercial fishing, and then I worked for Tony Robbins, and it totally changed the direction of my life. And I started coaching people and couples and working in companies, and spent years as a corporate consultant and problem solver. And what I taught in corporations was a different way of thinking. So I'm talking about like the city of Albuquerque, most of their top management went through my courses, and they would bring me in if there was a problem they couldn't solve. And I take that same level of thinking to relationships, because many couples have problems that if it was obvious, if it was easy, they would have solved it. And so today, this is a deeper level of looking at relationships so that you can solve problems you haven't been able to solve before. So I'm bouncing to you, Candace.
Yeah.
Moments, mentor, turning points for you. And hi, South Florida Sketches.
This is really beautiful. One of the first things that came up is this statement of remaining teachable and allowing the opportunity for every moment to be a mentor. Like as I was sitting here listening to you, remembering being a child that didn't have parents or adults that were really present, but yet the universe always provided. And when I look back, I remember certain people. There was a police officer that, there was something about them. And but I lived on the streets and a very violent, drug-induced lifestyle up until the age of 21. And I was thinking about AA. AA is kind of what helped change my life. And Louise Hay and Dr. Wayne Dyer. Those were some of my first big things. And then reflecting to today, since then, I went to college for human services to understand addiction and trauma on a deeper level. And then went on this traveling and remaining teachable and learning all these different tools for healing and transforming. One of the things I've always said about myself, I used to say it with pride, and noticing I'm having some trouble with it. Like I say, I'm a highly transformational person. And I used to say that with pride, but right now I'm noticing the slow down factor. That's why I have a turtle right here, a sea turtle. That's my medicine. Yeah. And then each relationship, each moment being an opportunity to learn, especially the challenging ones. Seeing the mentor in every moment and just staying open to learn.
Yeah, thank you. The mentors of the moments, or moments for as mentors. That's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
So the next one is it's a visual aid. And by the way, someone asked if we do coaching sessions, is it over Zoom? Yes. At least for me, it's over Zoom. And for most of the coaches from Love Coach Academy, it's over Zoom. So you can see the stuff behind me. So you can see the visual aids. And so we can see you. So
some people do in person, depending on location and stuff too.
Absolutely, yes. And some just do it over phone.
Yeah.
All right. So and yes, I Louise Hayes, yes, she came actually to Russia when I was a US delegate for the Soviet American Citizen Summit Peace Dialogue. Louise Hayes came to Russia with us. And so there was a whole group of people. It was an amazing event. Yeah. I was one of the people from the US. All right. So what the important thing about a map, I was talking to Bob Proctor about this, and Bob Proctor was one of the people in The Secret. And if you haven't checked out The Secret, it's a powerful thing. And he says the part of that makes a map useful is to be able to see where you are, where you want to go. So Candace, on this page, there are 4 boxes. And the question is, can I be me and still be in a relationship with you? And each of these boxes is basically a way of behaving in a relationship. So across the horizontal line is, on the left-hand side, is when we feel disconnected, on the right side, connected. Then going from the bottom to the top, I'm either sacrificing myself or being myself. So if I can describe this, the lower left-hand box is where I'm disconnected and sacrificing myself. Does that make sense? Okay. And in that box is what I call quit and stay zone. And the quit and stay zone is you're still in the relationship, but you're not getting what you want. You basically have given up on this relationship, but you've also given up on any other relationship. So why bother leaving here? Because it's not going to be any better anywhere else. And the way I found that out is I was working for the city of Albuquerque, and pretty much all their departments went through my courses on quality, productivity, and leadership. I was working with the Parks Department interviewing this guy, because I would go in and interview, and that's what we do with relationships. We interview both of the people and find out an assessment, what's going on. And he said that he was pretty miserable there working for the Parks Department. I said, well, what happened? He says, for a month, I came in and I gave it my all. I worked my butt off and nobody noticed. And he says, well, I decided for the next month, I'm not going to do anything. And he said, I came in and for a month, I basically didn't even do any work. And he said it was more painful that nobody noticed that. And so he came to work, but he quit and he stayed. He kept coming to work. And in a relationship, quit and stay is where you show up at the relationship, but you're no longer putting anything into it. So does that box make sense? That's the lower left-hand box, Candace.
Yeah, that's lower energy. I'm feeling it. I've done it.
Yeah. And that's all about loss. I've given up. Now, the next one above that is the everyone for themselves zone. That's where it's more like roommates. I'm disconnected from my partner, but I'm being myself. I am taking care of my needs, and it's everyone for themselves. I take care of my needs. You take care of your needs. And this is all about me, and you're all about you. So that's the upper left-hand box. And do you have and by the way, as I'm describing these, I've been in every box. So I'm not pointing it out to somebody else and saying you are. I'm saying I am. And what I'd love to hear is if you can, as I go through this, people find yourself. Where are you and where have you been? All right. So there's 2 more boxes here, Candace. I'm going to go through them and then hear your feedback, or you can tell me at any point. Now, the lower left-hand box is called waiting for my turn zone. And this one, a lot of women were sold this in the, years ago. Like, you take care of your man, you take care of the kids' needs, you take care of everything else, and then someday it will be your turn. And there are a lot of women that are now 50, 67 years old going, where's my turn? It never worked out. It's like I gave up everything and then there was no my turn. Now for men, and this is from older generations, but they were told, give up, go do a career that you may hate for 30 years, and then at the end you get a watch. So it's waiting for your turn zone. I sacrifice my needs to take care of you, hoping one day it will be my turn. That is the all about you one. So far we have all about loss, all about me, all about you. Any questions on any of those so far, Candace?
Visually, I want to share the one where you're just quit and stay. And
Yep.
in the box, or instead of a box, I see a spiral because it's a loop. Like my mother in particular, this is what she does her whole life. It's just, spinning and spinning. And then the roommate like situation is a box. You're closed. Ain't nothing coming in. And then the one where you're waiting for your turn, I feel like it's this like a one-way sign. When you said one way, I envisioned a one-way sign. Right?
That is beautiful. That is wow. Thank you, yeah. Candace. That I like that. I'm gonna borrow that.
Yeah, you can add it in there.
That is a one-way sign. Now the next one is the upper right-hand corner, and it's all about us. This is where I'm being myself, and I'm also being connected. And it's the partnership zone. In the partnership zone, we treat each other's needs as precious and enjoy meeting them. And part of what we have is we have a culture that has need shame. We're ashamed of even having needs. And to get up into the partnership zone, we have to not only notice our needs, but notice, name, negotiate needs. And another way of saying it is to become aware of them, to embrace them, and to express them. And there are 10 top needs. Now there's hundreds of needs, but there are 10 that I have identified from studying with Marshall Rosenberg, studying with Tony Robbins, that if you want to have a great relationship, that is, you've got to be aware of these 10 top needs. So if you look at the overall picture, the lower left-hand corner is fear-based relationships, where it's all about loss, quit, and stay. And the upper right-hand corner, the very tip of it, is where you get to remarkable relationship zone. This is where you can make love last and make it luscious. And I'm going to talk about FLP, because almost every relationship, and see if this resonates with you, Candace, is made up of 3 roles that your partner plays. They play the role of friend, partner, and lover. Does that make sense? So what I would love to hear from people is where you fit in and where you spend a lot of time, because all about loss, that's the lower left-hand corner. That's the quit and stay zone. All about me is this is about roommates, and I've coached couples that have, one couple had been almost reluctant roommates for 8 years. They were doing it for their daughter, but they weren't even sleeping in the same bedroom. And then the lower right-hand corner, all about you. I'm waiting for my turn. The one-way sign that Candace said. That was beautiful. And all about us is the upper right-hand corner. And the far upper right is the remarkable relationship zone. Anything you want to say before we switch slides, Candace?
Yeah. Wow, I feel like this part of the map, and really looking at where I spent a lot of my time, and adding more visual at the top, I see a heart for a shape, and I see arrow for the like we're moving into connection, and then at the top we're in that place in the heart, um, and the reality that these things are going to happen whether we stay in them and give them a lot of attention, or we find the part of us that really, what is the need, right? What is the need? It's so human to be in these places.
Absolutely. That's so true, Candace. They're not, you don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
And someone says very positive of, of your new blindness. When you can't see the visuals, you have to create for yourself. And it's eye-opening to us that still see. So there's some appreciation and love Louise Hay and her ideas. So, and for someone who had asked about coaching, we already answered that question, I think. So we do coach over Zoom, and we coach couples from around the world. So as you're going through today, what I wanted you to look at is take some notes, get out a piece of paper. This is something, this Facebook Live, you may want to watch a couple of times and start looking at the things you want to stop doing, the things you want to start doing, and the things you want to change in your relationship. You're going to find as we move into the next step that there's going to be content here, and you can look at habits, patterns, and beliefs that are sabotaging your relationship and supporting it. So right now, Candace, I have a grid here, and on the left-hand side, it has friend, partner, lover, and then going across the top, it says stop, start, change. So when you start looking at it in your friendship with your spouse, whatever label you want to use, what are some things that you want to stop doing? Like stop picking on them, stop bickering, stop doing this. What are some things you want to start doing? And what are some things you want to change? So for your relationship as friends, your relationship as partners, your relationships as lovers, take this, grab a piece of paper and start taking notes as we dive in. So start, stop, change. And then this is another visual. I was up until like 1:30 last night doing all the visuals. This is a pyramid with 5 different sections, five boxes in it leading to the top. And find the zone that you're in. And then the next one's going to boggle your mind. I guarantee you. Okay. So the bottom of the pyramid, Candace, is crisis. So which place are people's relationships in? And crisis is when you're in that, asking that question, should I stay? Should I go? It's like gotten overwhelming. You're on the edge. And a lot of times people come to pick a coach when they're in crisis. And we prefer if they pick us and come deal with us when they're way up the ladder, because it's a lot easier. So above crisis is when there's conflict. And that's like, conflict is, will this ever end? And conflict a lot of times is issues get recycled. We don't have the tools to work on them and resolve them, so they get recycled over and over again. And people are stuck in this, God, will this ever end? Yep. And somebody's saying they're in crisis. And if you have the right tools, you can work your way up. This is almost a ladder. There's things that you can stop doing and things you can start doing that will move you from crisis to conflict to stuck all the way up. Stuck is there's not much life in the relationship right now. We're kind of stuck in a rut. I think, Candice, you brought it up, the difference between routine and ritual. And stuck is when we're stuck in routine. We're kind of unconscious. We're going through the motions, but there's not much life. So anything you want to say about those first three? Those are the bottom three before we move into the top two.
Yeah. So on the topic of coaching, I'm in a new relationship, and for me, getting the tools and building the foundation with a coach at the starting point is so important. And reaching out and asking for help when you're in crisis, or find one of these videos. There's so many tools through LCA and everything. And then on the topic of ritual versus routine, I mean, some of us, like, I feel like we need ritual or routine to some degree. And I feel like ritual is more heart and sex resonant, more of the flowy feminine. And then routine is the structure. Like, you think of a square and then the spiral goes within. No right or wrong, but finding that place within your daily relating, living together or not, with whomever that is, and creating the rituals and routines that work mutually. And yeah. And our full, like, I think it's the chakras, and who we are as humans: mind, body, spirit, heart, sex, logic, emotion. Yeah. How do we tend to all that in our daily routines? Not just for me, as a blind person, I get overwhelmed and feel like my needs are too much because I have some basic needs like food, and I can't meet a lot of my own basic needs anymore. And so sometimes we get stuck in routine with just meeting the basic and everything looks fine. And the ritual is what adds the juice to it.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
And see, brushing my teeth is not ritual, it's routine. Now, I could be able to make it ritual, but it's like, do I bring consciousness to whatever that behavior is? So let's look at the top two. The next one up, the second one down from the top, is the relationship that's good. It's nice, but it's not as passionate or positive or powerful as it could be. It's nice, but I want more. I want to actually have something that's remarkable. And remarkable is where there's that constant feeling of gratitude and alive, and things are getting better and better all the time. So either our relationships are moving down the ladder because we stop paying attention, or they're moving up the ladder because we're working on them. It's like my partner, she gardens. And if she doesn't garden, the garden kind of goes into crisis out there. And so it's like our relationship. Either we're constantly gardening and watering it, and fertilizing and taking care of it, or we're letting it self-destruct. So look at where you are. Are you above the line or below the line? Above the line is when your relationship is either good or it's great and remarkable. Or below the line, you're stuck, you're in conflict, you're in crisis. And reach out, get some help. If you're in 911, then don't just read a book. Like, if you think about it, if you broke your arm, would you go to the store and buy a book on how to set your arm, or would you go to the emergency room? So it's like, if your relationship is in conflict or crisis, go to the emergency room and get some freaking help. So, all right, I am going to bounce to the next one. This one is just it's a little kid. It's about a 5-year-old swinging at a tennis ball, and his eyes are sparkling and he is looking joyous. And it's like, is your relationship set up as fun, or, and the next slide is two women arm wrestling, and it, you know, it could be fun, but it looks like it's a battle. So is your relationship set up as fun, or are you fighting to get your needs met? Are you fighting to be heard? Is it like an ongoing battle for each of you, and your partner no longer is your ally, but it's like your enemy? You've got to squeeze every bit of life out of it. Anything on that, Candace?
Mm, um, yeah, I know right now, like what's come up for me in my relationship is, exactly what we're talking about. How can we create more fun? We both are highly transformational. We're in a new relationship. There's a lot coming up, and we are putting in the work. We're showing up for a lot of these things. We have class after this, which I may have to jump out early to get to. But creating that balance of having fun, so we're not at that place, mutuality. And so I have a tattoo I feel like I want to show. So this is that in there?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me go to a bigger screen so that, okay, that is, yes.
So this reminds me of what we're talking about. It's a tree. It's me. Its roots are in the ground, and inside the tree is a beautiful, strong woman. And the tree and her holding a little girl swinging naked from the tree. And that's what this is reminding me of, like really holding that space for frolic, for the play. Yeah, and the gardening piece. Um, I like standing in my strength and doing the work and then playing. Yeah,
Well,
holding that space.
yep. This is going to give you the tools right here, or the big picture. This is the big picture about relationships, and people are going to want to, like, this is where you want to draw this out. And so you have a picture of it, Candace. There are 3 circles that are overlapping in the center. So one's to the left, one's to the right. I forget what the name of it is, but there are 3 overlapping each other circles in the center. So it's not like a target. They're laying over each other. So on the on the left-hand side, the first circle is in blue. And that circle, this is what makes up a relationship. So are the 3 areas or components of the relationship. And the first one, oh, by the way, I have, just so you know, there's a street lights, not street lights, but stop lights. And so people, as I'm going through this, can put in either green, yellow, or red for each of the components. So green means I got this, yellow means it needs work, and red means it's in bad shape. So there are these 3 different circles, and outside each 3 of the circles, there are 3 different parts of that circle. So circle number 1 is your heart set. Like there's heart set, mindset, skill set. Heart set, why are you even in a relationship? So this is the big why. I already mentioned it earlier. And see if it resonates with you. The reason to be in a relationship is you want a best friend, you want a partner, and you want someone who's your lover. So there's 3 different roles. That is why to be in a relationship. And each of those roles, there are different needs. So relationships are more complicated than we want them to be, but they're simpler than we think they are. Because nobody ever gave us the map. It's sort of like me looking at New York City, the subway. Without the map, it was easy to get into crisis or conflict. With the map, it doesn't make relationships simple. My relationship's not simple, but I can look at the map and go, oh, here's what I need to work on. Do I need to work on my friendship? Do I work on my partnership, my lovership? And by the way, friendship is made up of 3 things too. Trust. You can talk about anything and everything. and acceptance. Partner is vision and values. Do they have your back? Does it feel like a team? Lover is intimacy, romance, and passion. So, Candace, is that making sense there? Those three pieces: friend, partner, lover. That's the heart set.
Yeah, yeah. And as I'm listening, I'm seeing where sometimes I may fall into one or the other, or I don't nourish one thing, and seeing my value, my strengths in all these components. I have some strong strengths in the friendship department when in romantic relationship, and I have challenges. And same thing with the lover elements and the partner elements. Yeah, I'm just really appreciating the breakdown, and um, more self-awareness and self-empathy. These tools help us in the relationship with our partner, but really they help us, like whether we stay in the relationship or not.
Thank you. And I just got a couple of notes. I'm going to put a quick banner up, Carla, for you so you can get a hold of me. There. So someone was asking, how do I get coaching support? I'm going to give two options here. If they want coaching support with me, they can go to arguelesslovemore.net/support. And yeah. And if I'm not your cup of tea, because I'm an intense coach, and we look at what's really going on. And if I'm not the cup of tea, you can go to lovecoachacademy.com, and there's a whole group of coaches that you can choose from. So I look at things very systematically. Like I said earlier, I'm a guy who was hired by corporations to go in and solve unsolvable problems. So that's what I do. Okay. And again, there's that. Now I'm going to get rid of it all. And so the first one, and by the way, thank you, Trish, also for your comment about my work. I love it. The next part, so heart set, the next part is mindset. The heart set is why you're doing it. The mindset is who's running the show. And a lot of times we don't know who's running the show. And it's something called your ROS, your relationship operating system. And if you've ever been in a relationship where, like, it feels like you're sabotaging it, and somebody asked me to put mine up again, so I'm going to put my banner up again. Sorry. There we go. All right. So the mindset is made up of your ROS, your relationship operating system. And if you think about it, my phone, I'm holding up a phone. It has an operating system. My computer has an operating system. What does the operating system do? It connects the hardware to the software. And in life, my body, my mind, my mind is the software, my body is the hardware. How are they connected? Because when I experience life and connection in relationship, I need to do it in a way that serves me. So it's made up of my habits, patterns, and beliefs. And beliefs are critical. Beliefs are how we filter life. So part of the reason I love doing calls with Candace is because life has happened to us, and Candace has a way with her beliefs of making life exceptional, even though there's been some shitty stuff along the way. So I'm always going, all right, what are her beliefs around life? So Candace,
yeah, on that, one of the big things I've worked with, like every time I'm in victim mode, or I'm like, oh, this thing's happening to me. Moments as mentors. This is happening for me. Trusting in the universe. And then there's a Buddhist statement that I picked up that I use a lot. is pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And how can we do the transformation, and getting to know our relationship operating system, getting real with ourselves. And not, there's another saying, you point one finger out, you got three pointing back at you, and you might want to check that out. So, yeah.
So I'm going to bounce down to the next one. So there's heart set, mindset, and then skill set. And most people don't think about relationships as a skill set. But like if you've ever flown in an airplane, do you want the pilot to have skills or luck? Like I want a pilot that's skilled, and you would feel very uncomfortable getting on a plane and the pilot says, well, I think we're going to land in Hawaii, but we may end up somewhere else because I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. So it's like looking at what are the skills that make relationships remarkable. Because if you want a remarkable relationship, you need remarkable relationship skills. So this is how you do it. The heart set is why you do it. The mindset is who's doing it. And the skill set is how you do it. And your skills, there are thousands of different skills, but I'm going to tell you the three things your skills need to do, the three roles. Like in your heart set, the three roles were friend, partner, lover. Over here in skills, the three things that skills need to do. Number one, your skills need to help clean up the past. Because if you're stuck in the past, you're not available for your current relationship. If you're still grieving a past relationship, or you no longer trust men, or you no longer trust women, you're stuck where? In the past. And there's not much of you available for the present. The second skill is how to be present. And I think that if people are falling in love with Candace, and part of the reason that Candace is so lovable is she's very present. Like she's right here, right now. You can feel her bubbly excitement in life. And that is what we enjoy about our partners is they're present. And the challenge of being present is the ability to be with whatever pain and upset and challenge that a partner has. So presence is the second one, and possibility is the third one. So I'm going to bounce to you in a second, Candace, but it's like, think about clearing up the past, connecting, getting present, creating possibilities for the future. Now, if you're with somebody and you're going, why, my partner won't commit to me, the typical reason for people not committing is because the past hasn't been cleaned up and it's in the present all the time. So why would I want to make that permatized and bring it into the future? There's no possibility. So when we're working with people, what we're helping them do is clean up the past, connect and get present. And the best aphrodisiac, by the way, is somebody who's really present with you, who can be with whatever comes up, who can feel the feelings, and then create a possibility that's enrolling, that's empowering. So, Candace, anything on those three there?
Yeah. So, God, when I first changed my life and got off the streets when I was 21, I had a lot of sexual trauma. Relating was very hard. Everything was a trigger. Sexual energy was a trigger for me. And I was deep in the past. It was very, when I'm thinking about it, it's trauma, deep rooted trauma. And I'm very grateful. I'm aware and I've done the work, but it took some time, and it has taken a lot of work, and taking the time to notice, like, this isn't happening, but I used to really think I would never be able to have a relationship again because of the level of trauma. I could not be present. Every time someone touched me, I was brought back to other experiences that were just not where I want to be. There was no possibility. Like the life that I live now is something I thought that other people did on TV. I just like I remember when I was 22, I had someone that brought me to a party at a house, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'd never been to a house before." Like I grew up in like projects, and like I never knew someone that owned a house. Um, and so now I'm just like really like I'm like, wow, Candace, I'm feeling really appreciative for myself and that I've done the work. But I still have stuff. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? There is still, and that's why I'm here. I want to be present. I don't want to be a victim. I want to receive the gift of life and possibility.
Wow, thank you, Candace. And one of the things you just said that's so key is like you don't go to the gym once. Like I went to the gym once and I'm fixed. I'm now healthy. It's like these are relationship muscles, and you go to the relationship gym. It's like going and
This is 14 years in. I've been doing this for 14 years now.
yeah, and I've been doing it for probably 30 some years and teaching for over 25 years. And Scott Katamas, Love Coach Academy, he is a great coach also to teach you the relationship gym, the gym with yourself. So there's a few more pieces to this. What we're trying to do is get you available, capable, and willing. Those are three components to making a healthy relationship, to make love last and keep love alive. And like I'm not going to go into them too much, but there are 7 core skills that you need. There are 10. I'm in the heart set right now. And what fills up the circle of the heart set is when you get your needs met. And there are 10 of them. And the transformation in this part is when you go from your needs being a burden to your needs being precious. And in the ROS, the mindset one, your relationship operating system, is when your operating system goes from sabotaging your relationships to supporting them. Because I think I said earlier, there are hundreds or thousands of things that influence your relationship and impact it, but there's only one thing that's running it, and that's your ROS. So if you want to go from sabotaging your relationship to supporting it, changing your habits, patterns, and beliefs is the key. And then when it comes to skills, do you feel unprepared or do you feel well equipped to handle relationships? Do you have emotional IQ? Do you know what the 7 essential skills are? This is really important stuff. And then I'm going to tell you what the 7 skills are. Let me back up one more time. So I'm about to bounce out of these circles, Candace. When you think about it, was there a transformation from needs being a burden to needs being precious, or from your ROS sabotaging to supporting, or skills unequipped to well-equipped? Any of those resonate?
The big thing that's coming up for me is with my blindness and realizing that all these needs I'm not able to meet for myself are precious, and asking other people for help is okay. It's precious. It's a gift.
Yeah, it's seeing it as a gift. Whoops, wrong one. There we go. So if you want to ask for help, and it's like, if you look at it, here's the interesting thing. In why we're coaches, if you think about Tiger Woods is one of the best golfers in the world, he might need some coaching on his relationship skills, but as far as golfing goes, but he also gets coaching there. And it's not thought of as a weakness, but he wants to get better and better at it. So if you think about your relationship skills, do you want to get better and better at it? Get some coaching, get an outside perspective. So we're about to wrap it up. But before we do, I'm going to give you 7 essential relationship skills. And as we're going through them, what I want you to think about is where you are now and where you want to be. And which of these skills do you need to take you to the next level? So, number one skill, I'm going to have to bounce through them somewhat quick. And if you're excited about what you're watching, you can come back and watch it again and again. So the number one skill, and by the way, Candace said earlier that she had to leave because she's got to bounce off and go to another call. So thank you, Candace. She is continuing to work with Scott and Love Coach Academy. All right. First skill of the 7 is communication. So on the left-hand side, is your communication combative, collapsing? Is it built on who's bad, stupid, wrong? Is there shame, blame, guilt? Where no one walks away feeling heard, understood, and valued? Or is it courageous and compassionate? Is it building curiosity, connecting? And both of you feel heard, understood, and valued. The second one, and by the way, the only reason to be in a relationship is to get your needs met. And if you're not getting your needs met, the relationship is doomed to fail. And people say it's selfish, but actually the healthiest thing you can do is be in a relationship where your needs get met on a regular basis, because otherwise you're going to want out. Next thing, so are your needs ignored and avoided? Do they feel like a burden? Are they shameful? Or do you feel like your needs are adored and precious and embraced? That is critical. Almost every relationship has conflict. So does the conflict spiral down, and is it rarely resolved? Does it drive you apart? Do you end up, does it take days, weeks, longer, months to resolve it? Or is there compassion and curiosity? Does it bring you closer? Do you look for the precious needs underneath every conflict? And what I want you to do is look at which one of these needs the most work. Like, remember I said earlier, there was the friend, partner, lover, and then things to stop, things to start, things to change. What skills do you need in these areas? Which one of these 7 skills do you need to focus on? Was it communication, needs, conflict resolution? Or, whoops, I skipped one there. Let me see if I can. All right, I'm going backwards. All right, I may have skipped one completely, but foundation of trust. And we'll go back up to the other one. Are agreements kept or unkept? Are there broken agreements and affairs and lying and all of that? Or is it agreements kept and your word kept and it feels like your partner's got your back and boundaries are respected? And there's the 3 shades of intimacy, and that's physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, and sexual intimacy. Let me get this out of the way so we can see the next one. And is intimacy avoided? Is it embarrassing? Do you have this basic belief that vulnerability is bad, or are you on the other side where you're leaning into it? Intimacy brings you closer and vulnerability is good. And dealing with differences. Now, we all have differences, difficulties, and decisions to make in a relationship. But is that process, when you have differences, does differences drive you apart? Does it make you weaker? Do you look at it like something's wrong with the relationship because we have differences? Or differences bring you together? My partner and I have differences all the time. Our priorities are different. We have a lot of different differences, but it doesn't drive us apart. It makes us closer, makes us stronger. So something is great. Viva la differences. So whoops, let me see. Well, there wasn't a page where all of the essentials are there. Okay, there we go. There are all of them. So needs or communication, needs, conflict resolution, wounds, and triggers. That was the one that didn't show up. When you're wounded and triggered, you're either getting better or you're getting bitter. And it either like you're either getting less and less available or you're getting more and more available as you heal your wounds and tame your triggers. So that is what I wanted to cover. There are more that I could cover, but I just wanted to end on that slide. Oh, nope. I'm going to end on that slide right there. So thank you so much. What I would really love is if you could say what you got from today, to leave, type something out, leave a comment, share this with anybody that you think might get a lot out of it. If you want more help, you can either message me or go to that page and set up a breakthrough session, and spend some time. Learn what you need to learn about relationships. And this is a chance to have a huge breakthrough. So I appreciate Candace for her time today. I want to appreciate my partners, Scott Katamas from Love Coach Academy. And if you want to become a love coach, Scott is one of the finest teachers out there in this area. And Debbie G, who runs Spirituality Gone Wild, she is the third person that is the partners that run these calls. And these calls happen once again every morning, 9 o'clock, every evening, 6 o'clock, West Coast time. And totally different subjects. My focus is specifically about couples. We have couples, roommates, parenting, partners, recovery. The essence of all the calls are how do you stay more compassionately connected with each other? If there's anything we can do to support you, make sure to reach out to us and let us know. And you can actually if you send me a message, I will send you a link to the handouts from today's call. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time and energy. I will talk to you later. Let me end on, once again, boom, boom, boom. If you need support and you think that I would be a good fit, let's do a call together. We find out where you are, where you want to go, what's in the way, and what's your plan. And would we be good to work together? Because what we're trying to do is, I'm going to go a little longer, and I'm going to tell you the 3 reasons that most relationship coaching and therapy and counseling fail. And why is it important, and what you can do to change that? Because a lot of times people's therapy fails because if you don't agree on the problem, you won't agree on the solution. And they go in thinking that their partner is the problem. Like they think that therapy is about figuring out who's to blame and who needs to change. And what I want to do is help you figure out what isn't working, what part of your systems aren't working, what skills and tools do you need, rather than who to blame. The second thing that causes relationship coaching to fail, or therapy or counseling, is WIIFM, WEIT. And I know I'm cramming a lot in. What's in it for me? If you're not clear what's in it for me, you won't do whatever it takes. So it's really important, if you're going to do coaching, that both of you figure out what's in it for you. And the third one is accountability and commitment, and getting accountable for the changes you want to make in the relationship, and learning the skills, and going to what I call the relationship gym. Get coaching and deal with it. All right. Thank you so much. I love to get feedback. What worked for you? What did you learn? Go back and watch it again, watch the replay, and have a great day. Thank you so much.